I came to the city from a remote village with a dream of a new life and new opportunities. I only had enough money to rent a room in a communal apartment in one of the oldest districts of the city. The house looked terrifying. There are cracks on the walls across the entire facade. The entrance has never seen repairs. There are wrought iron railings on the stairs and tangles of wires and cobwebs under the ceiling. I went up to the third floor and knocked on an old wooden door with deep scratches on the paint. The hinges creaked. A man appeared on the threshold, looking like a creature from a dark fantasy world. He was almost bald, with only a few gray strands hanging from his head like cobwebs. Short, hunchbacked, wrinkled, with rotten teeth and gray skin. But he was smiling and extremely friendly. "Hello, young man. Are you going to live in our room?" "Yes," I nodded, suppressing an involuntary shudder. "Welcome," said the hunchbacked old man and stepped aside. The hallway was clean. I thought the corridors of communal apartments were always littered with junk, but there was literally nothing there. Even the coat hanger was empty, as if no one lived in this apartment at all. The hunchback handed me the keys and asked with narrowed eyes. "Peter," I introduced myself. "Wow, Peter, it's royal," the owner admired. "Well, please come through." He opened the door and I entered a small, bright room. The interior was much better than I expected. The furniture is old, but solid. A folding sofa, a small table, a chair, and a chest of drawers. A large window and a wooden frame without curtains. There's a pot of neglected aloe on the windowsill. It had grown so big that it looked like something monstrous. I brought my bags into the room and gave the money to the hunchbacked old man. He put them in his pocket without counting them. "Thank you, Peter. Please make yourself comfortable." The owner left. I thought about it then. The main thing is that he is a kind person, and therefore it doesn't matter at all what he looks like. Only children are afraid of someone because of their appearance. There was no closet in the room, so I put my clothes in the dresser drawer, sorted my things, and left the room, hoping to get to know the other neighbors. I was told that my family would live next to me, but there was no one in the apartment. Even that hunchbacked old man had disappeared. I looked around on my own. The toilet and bathroom were clean. The only strange thing was that there were no toothbrushes. There was only dry soap on the sink lid. The kitchen was also in perfect order. It was as if she hadn't been used at all. I cooked myself dinner, fried rice with an egg, and ate in silence, tapping on the wall clock. And where are my neighbors? It was already dark, but no one was at home. The room is closed. I thought that I would still have time to get to know them, and went on vacation. In the morning, the lock clicked in the hallway. I wondered who was there. I got out from under the covers, got dressed, and looked out of the room. And there's a young, charming girl. She was so pretty that I felt embarrassed for her rumpled appearance. Stretched trousers and shaggy head. Short, slender, with a small face. Her eyes are light blue. Her hair is black and shiny, curly to her waist. She was wearing a light-colored dress with short sleeves. There are pearl beads around her neck and silver bracelets on her arms. "Hi, you're Peter, right? My name is Amalia." The girl blinded me with a smile and held out her hand. I gently squeezed her slender fingers. "Nice to meet you, Amalia. Let's be neighbors." The girl did not stop smiling. Her eyes shone blue. "Is there anyone at home? Do you know?" "I don't know. I woke up just a minute ago," I confessed. "I'm sorry if I woke you up. Do you drink coffee? I'll cook it for you now," she said and ducked into the kitchen. An incredible light energy radiated from her. Soon, the apartment was filled with the aroma of coffee. I quickly washed my face, brushed my teeth, and went to my new neighbor. "How much sugar do you need?" she asked. "No sugar for me," I replied. sitting down at the table. "Here, take it easy." The girl put a mug in front of me and sat down opposite. "I'm glad to meet a new person. Tell me about yourself. Are you from this city?" Why would she smile like that and look into the eyes of a random person? I was thinking about how to tell my story more pedantically in order to keep the interest of this beautiful person. But suddenly, the door opened in the hallway again, and voices sounded. "Oh, the family is here," Amalia exclaimed joyfully and jumped up from her chair. Several people appeared in the kitchen doorway. That hunchbacked old man, 2 children, a boy and a girl, with the same short potty haircuts, a tall man with black hair and gray hair at the temples, 2 women, one blonde and curly, the other with dark unkempt hair, and a shaggy old woman with skin the color of ashes. They were all staring at me intently. The adults were smiling, and the children were just blinking their eyes in curiosity. The girl fluttered to them like a butterfly and kissed each of them on the cheeks. "Hello, my dear ones, my old people. Daddy, mommies, my beautiful children, how I love you." I sat at the table and thought, "Mommies? She has 2 children. Her father is a bigamist." Each of the visitors greeted me, and the man came closer and shook my hand. "Glad to see a new neighbor. Do you like it here?" "Cozy," I replied, trying to look calm, and suddenly there was silence, in which only the ticking of the clock could be heard. They all continued to look at me from head to toe, as if assessing me. "Don't embarrass him," Amalia asked softly. "Yes, we're putting the guy down. Let him have breakfast in peace," the man said. "Let's go to your room." "Amalia, let's go too. Don't be pushy. It's not pretty." I'm coming," the girl replied and ran off after her family. I was sorry that she left. I was drinking coffee alone and I could hear the floor creaking in their room. The neighbors were walking around talking about something. The children behaved surprisingly calmly. Their voices could not even be heard. They were well-mannered. After finishing my coffee, I went to my room and automatically glanced into the neighbor's room, which was ajar. Immediately, a tall man slammed the door shut from my prying eyes. But I managed to see part of the situation. It seemed to me that there was almost no furniture there. There was only a polished cabinet and a bare wooden floor. Maybe it was just my imagination. But in any case, it's strange that such a large family huddles in one room and even rents out part of their home. But in any case, it's strange that such a large family huddles in one room, and they also rent out part of their housing. Although, maybe this is not their only apartment, and they come here only from time to time. They didn't sleep here last night. The sun was shining through the window. I didn't want to stay at home in this weather. I packed up and left the apartment, knowing that I can afford to explore a new city until Monday, and then start actively looking for a job. I walked down the street, found out where the store, hairdresser, and pharmacy are located. I bought a shawarma at a local eatery and ate it on a bench in a nearby park, sharing the meat with a stray cat. And for that, she gratefully rubbed against my leg. Then I walked to the city center and didn't get back until 4 in the evening. The apartment was quiet again, and the rich aroma of burnt plants hung in the air, similar to the smell of Indian incense sticks. What were they doing here? Maybe they're some kind of sectarians? But they are similar. They're so weird. And this girl is light and naive. He definitely lives in a separate bright world of pink ponies. Following this thought, my conscience pricked me. It's not good to think something like that about people you don't know. The door to the neighbor's room was closed. No sound from there. They seem to have left. I went to my room. I sat down on the sofa and picked up my laptop, wanting to find places on the internet where various youth gatherings and concerts take place. I wanted to make friends with someone in this city as soon as possible. And if you're lucky enough to meet a girl, after dreaming about it, I introduced Amalia. I wonder if she has a boyfriend. It would be nice to get to know her better. Suddenly, there was a sound of footsteps from somewhere, as if a child had run, and then someone hissed, "Shh." It means that someone is at home. They're sitting there in their room like mice. What kind of a strange family? Although maybe this noise came from another apartment. You can't have people locked in a room all day playing dumb. Night had fallen. No one returned home. When it's time to get ready for bed, I found myself feeling a constant tension, as if someone was eavesdropping on me. But as I fell asleep under a warm blanket, I thought that no matter how strange my neighbors might be, they were still kind of good-natured and so quiet that you couldn't tell if they were thinking or not. And at night, I was awakened by a sharp knock on the window. I jumped up, tucked my legs in fear, and looked around. The glass was beating like a crow. She fluttered, barked, flew off and hit the window again, as if trying to break it. The frame moved from another blow, and a heavy plant fell from the windowsill. The pot was intact, but the dirt was scattered on the carpet. The crow, as if it had achieved what it wanted, immediately flew away into the night, leaving me alone to run around anxiously. Ugh, you ugly bird. I could have cleaned up in the morning, but my dislike of clutter made me get up from the couch. I pulled on my pants and went into the kitchen to look for a broom. And behind the door, in the darkness of the corridor, there was a soft singing. It flowed like a church melody, mesmerizing and creepy at the same time. A female voice softly pulled the sounds. Fearing anxiety, I looked into the kitchen, and what I saw shocked me to the core. There was an old woman I saw earlier in the day, but she wasn't just standing. She was hanging in the air. Her bare feet floated above the floor. Her curled fingers trembled with tension, and her hair moved smoothly, as if in water. The old woman's eyes were white in the dark, and her toothless mouth stretched wider and wider as she sang those melodious sounds. I was so terrified that I stumbled back into the room, locked the door, and held the handle with trembling fingers for a long time. The singing stopped. I was terrified, but I couldn't believe what I saw. It seemed too absurd to be true. A friend of mine once told me about nocturnal hallucinations in a state of sleep paralysis. One day he saw a female figure at the door, and another time, a tall shadow that hung over his bed. Something similar could have happened to me. It's all the stress of moving, anxiety and fatigue. Lying down and trying to sleep seemed like the best solution. Morning came. The first rays of the sun hit my face. The overturned pot with the plant was still lying on the carpet, so it wasn't a dream. I got up, left the room, and immediately ran into that old woman. She stood barefoot on the cold floor. She was clutching some kind of huge toy in her hooked fingers. Grandma is a real witch, and her grandfather looks like a sorcerer. It's like they're 200 years old. Is it worth living here? I decided first. Two women dressed in a dark dress were leading sleepy children by the hands. A tall man followed them. An old woman followed, already dressed in a coat and boots. And last of all, hobbled the hunchbacked grandfather. "See you tonight, Peter," he said, and slammed the door. They've gone somewhere again. I wonder what time they got back yesterday. Or did they not leave the apartment at all? How strange everything is. But they didn't even tell me their names. Only Amalia introduced herself. As soon as I thought about this girl, she appeared in the kitchen, and she looked as charming as yesterday. Her long hair streamed over her shoulders, and her eyes shone with a lively light. "Bon appetit," the young neighbor said, giving me a smile. Why did everyone leave and she stayed? "Thank you, Amalie," I replied, trying to look calm. "I'm sorry, of course. I want to ask, were you at home last night and last night?" "Yes," she replied without hesitation. "We meditated deep into the night, preparing for today's ritual. This is a very important event. I'm sorry for asking such questions, but are you related to each other, or are you in some kind of sect? What is the correct name for this? I asked with undisguised concern. The community? We are the community, she prompted. And yes, these people, my family, I was born here. I can show you something. Come to my place. It's not worth it, I replied, realizing that I was afraid to buy into her charm. Relax, you're just a family album, Amalia reassured. I want you to see this. Nevertheless, I decided to trust her and followed her. I thought it was better to find out everything than to speculate. The girl took me to her room. It really turned out to be almost empty. There was only a closet, and there were small flat pillows made of thick fabric on the floor. Sectarians, as there are sectarians. Who else has such asceticism? Guttered candles and bouquets of dried herbs were on the windowsill. It also betrayed some kind of devilry. The girl opened the closet door and found a thick, leather-bound album. Our family's history is here, she said with pride, as if it were something sacred. I picked it up and started flipping through the pages without much interest. There were simple family photos, smiling faces, group portraits against the background of the room. That man and his women, still young, dressed with a grandmother, looked the same in the pictures as they do now, as if they had been stuck in their old age for a long time. I continued flipping through the pages until my eyes caught on one photo. It showed little Amalia with big, innocent eyes full of curiosity. There's another boy with her, a little older, with the same bright eyes, probably her brother. I wonder where he is now. I was born for what's going to happen today, the girl said, her voice sounding like an echo in the silence of the room. You have no idea what an important day this is. These words were supposed to intrigue me, but I stopped listening to her when I saw the next photo in the album. She made my heart stop. In it, the family looked into the frame with identical expressions. Grandfather, grandmother, two women, a man, and Amalia, about 10 years old. The lips and chins of each of them were smeared with something red. It was as if they had just finished a blood feast. His eyes glowed from the camera flash. All the family members stared into the frame like they were possessed. And in the next almost identical photo, I saw human remains behind the people. Behind them, a bloody leg and, I think, part of an arm lay on the floor. I watched, and my hands were shaking. They're not just cultists. They've eaten someone. I closed the album, but the weight of what I saw stayed with me. Amalia was standing in front of me, her eyes sparkling, waiting for my reaction. Today is a big holiday. We will summon our idol. The great Cathis will visit our house and we will feed him. She said it solemnly, and there was a kind of sacred confidence in her words. I smiled tightly, trying to hide my horror, and immediately said, Very interesting, Amalia. Thank you. I have to go now. I tried to return the album to her, but the girl abruptly stepped forward and pressed something sharp to my chest. Looking down, I saw in her hand a small dagger with a long, thin blade. You will stay, she said with undeniable confidence. Don't move. Your heart is only 4 centimeters away. The tip of the blade pricked the skin and soaked the fabric around with blood. My stomach clenched with fear, every muscle tensed. This frail girl who had seemed so defenseless now looked like a predatory animal. If I move, she won't hesitate to stick a dagger in my chest. She's going to kill me. It was necessary to listen to her and try to negotiate. The room suddenly became too cramped. Tension filled the air. I couldn't take my eyes off her beautiful and cruel face. It took my breath away to realize what she could do to me at any moment. His fingers suddenly felt weak. The heavy album fell out of my hand and crashed to the floor. Amalia, Shut up. Go back. I backed away, feeling the sharp blade pressing into my chest. My hip hit the hard windowsill. Sit down slowly, the girl ordered in a steely voice. We both got down on the floor at the same time. The tip of the dagger scratched the skin, warning that any movement could be fatal. Your foot has a chain. Buckle up, she continued. Amalia, I tried to speak. Hush. Buckle up. Words later, she replied sharply. With trembling hands, I felt for the iron bracelet and obediently fastened it on my wrist. The girl took the dagger away from my chest and jumped back. She was elated that she had succeeded. I could only beg her. Amali, let go. I won't tell anyone anything. Yes, you won't tell anyone anything, she said, putting her finger to her lips. This remains a secret forever. Today is the day of the sacred meal. We must feed him, our idol, our guardian. The day of the sacred meal. Is it really one of those that are captured in the photo in the album? I was chosen as a victim. I tried to bring the girl to her senses. Amalia, you're a good girl. You understand that your ritual is murder. The girl just smiled, and there was not a drop of sympathy in her eyes. Cathis is a demon of self-sacrifice, and death is the highest value for our cause. I knew that words wouldn't help. This family worshipped some kind of demon. They are madmen, cannibals, murderers, extolling death. Amalia went to the old cupboard, hid the album, and took out a bouquet of dried herbs. Then she lit it on fire with a lighter, and it began to smolder with greenish smoke. Keeping a safe distance away, the girl began to move the bouquet over my head. I could feel the acrid smoke entering my lungs. It itched inside, made me cough, and made me dizzy. It's like a high-speed carousel, and everything became blurry. The body went limp. There's not a single thought in my head. Time passed quickly. It seemed like hours were flying by like minutes. It was dark outside. Candles were suddenly lit on the floor of the room. Their soft light danced on the walls, illuminated the faces of the people around. People, where did they come from? When did you arrive? I missed that moment. A man, 2 women, 2 children, and 2 old men. Their faces were a blur, but I could clearly hear them singing the same sounds in unison. I couldn't feel the boundaries of my body, as if I was smeared all over the room. Amalia was sitting in the center of the circle. She looked into my misty eyes. Her hand brought a small key to my wrist. The bracelet clicked and opened. They're going to eat me. I have to run, I thought, but I couldn't move. The drug took away my will. My legs wouldn't work. Great Cathis, are you with us? The man asked without opening his eyes. I'm with you, I heard, and only then realized that these words had escaped from my mouth. It was a mute voice, low and harsh, like a gong being struck. I tried to move my hand, but it didn't work. Someone else took over my body, making me just an observer. Great Cathis, Amalia said with delight. I'm happy to hear from you again. I'm here for you. I was born for you. She stood up, took hold of the edge of her skirt and pulled off her dress, exposing her slender white body. I sacrifice myself. Eat my flesh, she said with tears of happiness. Thank you, my child, someone answered her from my mouth. And in the next second, against my will, I bit my teeth into her fragrant neck. My fangs pierced through the soft skin, and my mouth filled with hot blood. The girl was fluttering, screaming in pain and delight, and I was tearing her alive, feeling the taste of raw meat. A large piece of flesh went down his throat and sank into his stomach. My teeth bit into her beautiful face. I tore her cheeks, bit off her ears, chewed the meat, and swallowed the cartilage whole. God, what a horror! What madness! Disfigured, exhausted, Amalia fell on her back and convulsed. "Taste her!" A cry burst from my throat, and bloody saliva frothed on my lips. Men, women, old men and children rushed at the girl like a pack of hungry wolves. I rushed at her too. He bit into my face, shoulders, and breasts. We ate it, tore it with teeth and nails, gnawed the bones. My mind couldn't stand it and shut down. I came to my senses when only bones and fragments of entrails remained on the floor. The room was filled with the smells of wax, burnt herbs, and raw meat. Blood froze on his trembling hands. Stomach, bright camera flash. I think I've landed on another family portrait. "Go away," the hunchbacked old man said wearily. "The ritual is over. You're not needed here anymore. Leave us alone." At that moment, I felt like I was in control of myself again. The demon has left my body. I got up and ran out of the room, wanting to leave this nightmare immediately. Memories of what had happened flashed through his mind like stills from a movie, vague and terrible. Unable to bear the weight, I fell to my hands and knees. Spasms hit my insides, and I vomited thickly of someone else's blood and flesh. Amalia's words rang in my head again. "You won't tell anyone anything. This will always remain a secret." In that pool of blood, a familiar eye with a blue pupil glittered, dead and motionless, and I sobbed out loud, realizing that I would never be able to fully recover from what had happened.